Jason, your Christmas morning is almost over.
Almost,
but not quite.
but it's going to go out with a bang. We've got the former heavyweight champion, Michael Moorer, with us. Michael, thank you for being here. Congratulations on your induction into Florida Boxing Hall of Fame.
You're welcome, and thank you very much. And former light heavyweight champion.
And former light heavyweight champion, absolutely. I remember watching when you started out as a light heavyweight champion. And, of course, I think most of us who follow boxing remember that night back in 1994. I'm sure probably maybe the greatest moment of your career when you beat Evander Holyfield to win the heavyweight title. Go through us, for those. Tell us a little bit about that night and the feeling, the atmosphere. I know you got knocked down early in the fight, came back, won. What was that night like for you?
It was so long ago, but to my recollection, it was enjoyable. It was achievement. It was success. At that time, I think my son being born was the most exciting point in my life, besides that. But it was a great victory. It was good, going through the fight. You're nervous, you're scared. You always have those side effects as in boxing. People don't talk about it, but the side effects of being nervous, scared, frightened, timid, stuff like that. But I know that I've done everything right, and so what I did is I go into the ring. When I go in the ring, I know I've done everything right, so I just go in there and let everything go.
And I know Teddy Atlas, your trainer at the time, of course, he got a lot of notoriety for the kind of the pep talks he was giving you in between some of those rounds. How did that impact you at all in that fight? Was that something that you knew that was kind of his personality, or how did that help you along that night?
Well, people who know Teddy Atlas, Teddy knows that Teddy's just a philosopher like that. If he knows me, so he felt that was going to lift me up to boost me in that fight, and it did. A lot of people didn't see it, but a lot of people don't understand that about the relationship that Teddy Atlas and I had. But as long as we both understood, that's all that mattered.
Absolutely. And, of course, you hold a historic moment. You were the first southpaw heavyweight champion in history as well.
Yes.
So that always, plays a part. I know people outside of boxing don't understand how being left-handed can make a difference. But, when you're used to fighting right-handed guys, I'm sure that does play a factor.
It really does. There was a time when I started boxing. I was 10 years old. My grandfather was my trainer. He tried to steer me to fight orthodox, but I couldn't, and I tried it, but it was so awkward for me, and he just kept me southpaw. And being a southpaw, I always have the advantage because the punches are coming at a different angle.
Right.
But I knew, and me knowing that, I knew how guys would fight me because they always try to throw this left hook, right hand. That's easy, but you have to be smarter than that to not let that happen.
Michael, where do you think the sport is going? It took a little bit of a hit with the MMA coming in the popularity, and now boxing is starting to get back into the forefront, it seems like. What do you envision for the sport in the years ahead?
Well, boxing has declined a lot lately because of the mixed martial arts. I'm a fan of mixed martial arts. I'm a combat fan. Boxing, I think, has to date back when I was coming up. I was in the international fights, fighting overseas all the time, fighting, the international bouts where people, they were a lot better than a lot of Americans. But being over there fighting different styles, they need to go back to doing that because you're getting all these guys, these kids they're fighting each other. If you're fighting each other, you're not going to learn nothing. If you're fighting different styles, from different places, you're going to have a lot, I think, a bigger advantage fighting other people because you're fighting different styles, different people. They don't do that anymore. Why is that? But they talk about the money. Why is that? Money is a problem of everything, and I can understand to a certain extent. But for all these kids that, there's a lot of donations that go on, and people just don't support the amateur boxing anymore like they used to. And I think they need to go back to doing that. They want to make a heavyweight champion out of a football player. Come on, man.
That's
You
never.
can't-
That's never worked.
That's-
And guys
never.
have tried, but the key is once you take a punch on the chin, that's where you really
Exactly
see the ability
right.
to take a punch.
Exactly right, and it's sad that they do stuff like that. Invest the money back into boxing, and when I say invest the money back into boxing, also look at the commentators. They have their and I'm not saying nothing bad about the commentators. They obviously do a hell of a job. They're still on television. But why not? They have their certain guys who they pick. Why is that?
Yeah.
Because is it the politics of boxing? People don't talk about that stuff.
Right.
I don't bite my tongue for nobody on earth.
Well, Michael,
That's what I love
we
about you.
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
appreciate you coming
Two
by
hands.
today, and we certainly thank you for helping us wrap up the program today. It's a
Well, I
great way to
appreciate
go
it.
out with
Congratulations on your induction into an excellent boxing career.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
thank you,
much.
Mike.